All right, folks, got a nice sunny windy day out here, and today we're going to be anchoring this pole in the ground. Miss Betty called me up and said she got this StarLink internet satellite dish to mount up. Right now it's all temporarily set up there, but we're going to put a pole in here, and I'm going to use a foam expanding foam product rather than concrete. We're going to see how that works, but to get started, I guess I need to get a hole dug, and Miss Betty said she'd give me a pan of cornbread if I do this, so I said, all right, bet. So let's get started with the digging. Well, the instructions for this here StarLink say to go 2 feet down, and the hole should be 1.5 feet wide, so I think that's about the width we need, but still gotta go a little deeper. Little archaeology discovery here. Not really sure, looks like a PVC pipe coupling or something. I don't know what that is, but that was in the hole, so that's cool. All right, let's keep going. Oh yeah, I suppose I should mention the call811.com. That's the call before you dig number, 811. I know there doesn't happen to be anything here on account of it being so close to this concrete. There's no really lines or anything down here. I think there's a sewer line, but it's further over, you know, that way, away from this wall. So we're good here. But make sure you call before you dig. All right, so we're basically there. It may not look like it. That level's 2 feet, but this side over here is higher than the ground that's sloping there. So pretty close to 2 feet deep. The instructions say this hole here needs to be, you know, 3 inches above the foam or concrete. So depending on how far that expands up, we need to make sure that that's above that level. So I might just widen out the bottom a little bit, maybe dovetail it out so the foam can expand down and get a good lock in there. But I think then I'll start to be able to level that and center that pole and get going on the foam. So the instructions say to go ahead and put your top pole into the bottom pole before you put it in the concrete, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just do the bottom part and get that all in there, and then once it's all set, I'll come back and slide the top into there. Maybe they just want to make sure you realize that that little end is the top that the dish connects to. And you got to make sure this end here is tapered, fits into there. And again, your hole, that's where the wire can come out of the drain hole. That needs to be towards the top end of the bottom part. So just a little FYI if you're working with this StarLink setup. All right, so I've gone ahead and put some little shims in there to kind of help me keep her level before I pour here. You want to check a couple of sides on here. I reckon that's good enough that way. And I think we got to move her back a little bit this way, so I'm going to adjust those. And again, this ground's deceiving because it's slanted. I'm going to build this up with the backfill when I'm all done, but this hole here, you want to make sure that's going to be above ground level and concrete level. So I'm going to get this squared up a little more and get ready to pour. All right, not sure I'm going to be able to film this one-handed, but that's the stuff I'm using. And you get the bag out and you tug on both ends of the bag. That opens the 2 different things in there to start filling. And then I'm going to rub it back and forth across that smooth shovel handle for 30 seconds. And then I'm going to cut a corner off and start pouring it in there. Yeah, that's the plan. And I'm going to wear some gloves too in case it explodes or something on me. That wouldn't be fun. So, all right. Oh, look at that. It comes with gloves too, but I'm going to use them leather ones. Yeah, so I think when I pull the edges, that black piece is going to slide off. And there it's talking about rubbing it back and forth 30 seconds and then pouring it in there. So ready to go in 3 to 5 minutes. We'll see about that. All right, well, I guess that went okay. As you're, you know, dumping her out, they tell you to roll the bag up and like a tube of toothpaste and squeeze it out. I don't think I'm getting much more out of there. So I guess we'll see how far she foams up. Again, it's supposed to be the equivalent of a couple bags of concrete, so if it doesn't get up to those sticks, I might use my second bag on there, because for a hole this wide, 1.5 feet, it doesn't seem like that's very much. I think fence posts are typically, what, 8 inches wide? I don't know, but we'll check back here in a couple minutes, see if it foams up anymore. And that bag got kind of hot, so I think the leather gloves are a good idea. That chemical reaction in there, and a little warm. So, all right, let's see. Yeah, while we wait, another archaeological find here. Some sort of cap piece. Not sure if that'd be something electrical or just a rebar cover, but that's fun. Well, went ahead and added another bag. Now apparently these ones say they're only the equivalent of one bag of concrete, so yeah, whoops a daisy, that must have been a different one I was looking at that said 2 bags. But anywho, there she is foaming up with the second bag in there. It's getting up to where them shims were, and I think that'll be all right if it doesn't go much higher. I'll just, you know, put some of this dirt on top of there and pack it down real good for extra weight, and that should give it a nice little anchor underground, so it won't wobble too much. But if not, we can always come back and do it again with concrete, you know. But I'm gonna give that a couple minutes and I'll take a closer look. Oh yeah, look at that little critter skull there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Too bright out here, but pretty neat. Well, next time I do this, I'm going to use something more than just the shims to try to keep her straight. I didn't account for the fact that the foam is going to rise up against that shim and push it out of the way. And for the most part, it's still straight up and down, maybe a little bit that way, but it's good enough. Well, took a little break there, had some conversation and cornbread. Looks like that's going to be as high as it's going to come up, so I'm just going to cover it up with dirt. Probably could have used 3 bags of that stuff, but that should be fine. And then I'll pack it around real good and then get the top half of the pole on there and hook up the dish. To make sure it's good and packed down, got a little brick here, filled it up a little bit, and just going around and tamping it down with that a little bit. I do that a couple times as I go. Alright, well, I really didn't have any extra soil left over. I was hoping I could take some of that and fill some other low spots, but I got her tamped down pretty good, put my girth up on here a little bit, and yeah, I think that's going to work just fine. Next step is to put that dish on the top pole, sit it in there, and maybe move the pole first, get a ladder, set that on there, run the cord through it. And out my little hole, that's still got plenty of ground clearance. I'm just going to run that along there into the house. But that's not too tall at all, actually, but at least it'll be up above the weeds and so the cats can't get on there and lie on it. A little rubber mallet time, just to make sure that's good and in there. Alright, hey, look at this little camouflage guy. A little grasshopper, but he's camouflaged with concrete. That's crazy. Alright, so now I'm going to feed this here cable for the StarLink down the inside of the pole and out my thing down yonder. I should mention this cord ain't rated to be buried, so we're just going to run it along there above ground into the house. So, don't know what you need to do, if you need conduit, if you need to bury these or what, but we're going to see if I can get this down in here, hopefully. Maybe it ain't going to work. I don't think it will. I did read something about it in the dish that said this won't be able to go through the pole, in which case we'll just zip tie it to the edge. Yeah, because that's going to get stuck in there if I try to. That ain't happening. Alright, so we're just going to run along the outside of the pole then with some zip ties, because that's too big. You can't do it. It's not possible. Alright. So there it is on the pole, and that'll be high enough to keep the critters off it. And should get some better look at the sky where the satellites live. So now I'm going to go in and plug this back in so Miss Betty can watch her shows and her stories. And I'm just going to get that zip tied up on there, make it look real nice. Oh snap, it's alive. See it there, it's recentering. Try to find a good satellite signal. There you go. Yeah, right up in there. Very nice. Alright, so might as well show you. I'm going to do a little rain loop here. Not only does that give you a little extra in case you need to move this around for whatever reason, but also when rain gets on there, it'll drip off the loop rather than run down the length of the pole. So I'm also going to do a little loop-de-doop down here, again for some excess in case we ever need it. And I'm going to run it over here and kind of zip tie it to all them little, what you call them, foundation metal jobber deals from the frame, and I don't know, but yeah. Alright, I think that should about do it. Putting these bricks down here to discourage some critters from chewing on that cord. I know rabbits like to do that sometimes. But yeah, got it all zip tied up there and should be good to go. Check us out next time.